Hey, welcome to the Death of a Dream podcast. We are going to start with our great things. That's where we ground ourselves in our greatness. That's where you maybe completely ignore what I talk about for this time and recognize yourself. Now, the beauty of this is that we start creating a habit where we're shifting a belief that we are not great. Now, how do you do this? Your body and your mind inherently search to prove a belief right? It's going to keep searching until you find I'm going to start again. Sometimes that first take, I can feel myself getting into a flow with what I'm saying, but if I skip up within the first minute, I just know that that's not the right flow for me. So we're going to start again. Don't mind that. That's part of it, right? But I can feel when I'm flowing. I need to get my head wrapped around this thought, though, for me to go where I want to go today. So the thought is the belief pattern. When you have a belief, you look to acknowledge that belief. Why are my words escaping me? It's not acknowledge. Validate. Boom! Here we go. Okay, we're going to restart recording. I stopped the podcast because I needed that word. Validate. You look to validate that belief. Okay, let's do this. Take two. Welcome to the Death of a Dream. Today we are coming in hot. I'm so excited for today's episode because seriously, this is a topic that I've wanted to cover from where I've been and maybe been kind of skating around because, I don't know, filters, right? But we're filter free here at Nothing, so let's dive in. Okay, took a drink of my lemon water. Here we go. So, we're going to start with grounding ourselves in our greatness. That's how we start every day. Welcome if you haven't been here. Why do we start the day like this? Well, here we go. When you hold a belief about yourself, you look to validate that belief. All day long, you're doing this. All day long. So if you believe that you're broke and you're never going to have money, you only search to validate that belief. So you see yourself as poor and you constantly pull yourself back into that low place. All day long, you are searching to validate that belief. Don't believe me? Start thinking about this all day when you're having thoughts, when you're going through the world, right? And I believe a lot of times those beliefs generally are limiting beliefs that we're searching to validate about ourselves. So if you think that your thighs are big, guess what you aren't doing? Trying to find and validate proof that your thighs are small. Right? And so when we have limiting beliefs, when we have these things that we don't believe about ourselves and we're going out in the world looking to validate those lower beliefs, we stay down there. So what if we flip the script? What if we took limiting beliefs like this one that we do every day and create new validation patterns? What if we just flipped and looked at it in a different way? So what if instead of looking for all the ways that we're terrible, right? Hey, I know we do it. I know we do. We start looking for ways that we are great. And what if instead of going through our days and looking for all the reasons that we're failing in life, we are actually looking to validate this new belief that we are great. And how do we do that? Well, here's what I came up with. We just start doing it, right? And so inherently, if I'm calling you to ground yourself in your greatness every day, inherently you have to start to look to validate that belief, right? We're actually making a habit out of this new belief. And that habit is that we speak to it. And the action is that we're validating this new belief that we want to hold, and that's that we are great. So then you start to do that thing. You start to become great. You start to be able to speak to your greatness. So that's why we do it every day. There, now you know. If you haven't been here before, welcome. This hasn't always been a part of the podcast, but this has always, as of 3 years ago, been a part of Hannah Nuss and the things that we do. And it stemmed from this realization that greatness is a hard thing to teach. And I don't believe in teaching it and standing on stages and being like, be great, go be great. I truly believe in the daily hustle. And I've seen the daily hustle, the consistency of calling greatness into your life pay dividends. And it's as simple as this: showing up every day and calling greatness into your life, because you will start to look to validate that belief. Oh, I'm great. And instead of validating this belief that you're lesser, you're validating a belief that you are greater. Every day you're looking at that, and every day you're forming a habit around this narrative. Okay? So, my great thing from yesterday, that's a challenge. You know, I've wanted this dream so much, and I finally gave myself this gift. Like, fine, go chase this dream. Go all in. And this morning I sent a text to one of my really close friends, and I said the words that I have feared for the entirety of this journey. I said the words, I don't know that I'm strong enough to do this. Which seems so crazy because I've been wanting to do this. I've been growing this in like the wee hours of the morning and the late nights for so long that now that I have the entire ability to do this, I'm shrinking back. Come on. Right? But here's the thing. It's just such a mind play. It is. Because you're essentially breaking down all the things that you know to be true about this world. And I wrote about it yesterday in my blog. You're breaking down this idea of what work is and where your worth is held. Right? Because if you don't come into a full inbox every day, are you even important? Does your work even matter? Right? And that's, I think, the biggest struggle. So my great thing isn't that I've been struggleless in this journey. I wish that it was. It's actually the exact opposite. But my great thing is allowing myself to go there because I know that I'll recover from it. I know that I'll be okay. That this is just how I'm feeling today, but avoiding it and sugarcoating it and not saying hard things doesn't allow me to fully experience what I'm feeling. And so I inherently just want to stay surface level and happy and be who I am called to be in this world, but I have to allow myself to feel even the bad feelings. I have to. and I'm an Enneagram 7 and it hurts. It hurts really bad. And I'm going to put a picture on my Instagram this morning because I chose my Enneagram mug, which if you want one, head over to Enneagram and Coffee because she has the most adorable mugs. And I will post a picture of that today. But my Enneagram mug says free, joyful, adventurous, enthusiast. And essentially, feeling bad feelings is the exact opposite of all those things on my mug. And so it's so hard for me to go there. It's even harder for me to tell someone that, right? That it's not free and joyful and adventurous. That I can't be enthused about this moment. It's even harder to go there, but my great thing is making myself go there. It's okay. This will pass, but it doesn't pass faster pretending like it's not happening. Actually, the opposite, right? Because then I just bottle it all up and eventually it comes out exploding on the floor and I'm screaming and crying and I've escaped into this miserable little world where every bad thing comes up, right? And I cry in my car. So, my great thing is exploring even the bad feelings. You know, it'd be really easy for me to come on this podcast every day and be like, you know what? Greatest thing I ever did for myself, quitting my job. Love it. Loving every second of it. And no doubt, there are amazing parts of it. But more importantly, there are unamazing parts of it. And it's important that I allow myself to feel that too. So that's my great thing. Just accepting that it's not all amazing. Right? And I know you're sitting there and you're going, oh, boo-hoo, poor you. Ooh, you got to quit your job. It's not easy. It's not as easy as you think it would be. You're undoing years, if not decades, of training. That this is what this is supposed to feel like. And that's been the hardest part so far. I don't know, day 3. We'll get there. So that's my great thing. Go ahead and take time today for your own greatness. Because I need you to look to validate this new belief that you want to hold about yourself. I need you to do it. You got to do it. You have to do it. It's for you. It's only going to take a couple seconds. It's not going to be painful. I used to tell you to tell someone, you don't even have to do that. Trust me. Don't do that. You may not want to do that. Find someone that you can trust and love enough that they will support you in your journey to greatness. That's someone you can share with. But just be careful who you say these great things to. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and dive in. So yesterday I wrote a post on my LinkedIn and I was asking what keeps you from thinking big. And that was an expansion on what we talked about yesterday. It's this idea of bigness. And yesterday, I'm sorry, I yelled. I know, but I'm just so, I'm just like, come on. If all it takes is hustle, if that's it. Okay, and it's a lot more than that. But seriously, then wouldn't you do it? I think we've just been so trained in this life to believe that we don't deserve goodness. And you do. And we do. But you do. You deserve goodness. You deserve to enjoy more parts of your life than just the weekend and nights. Come on, what if you could create this world? What if you could have the things that you truly feel passionate about? What if? Go there. Dream there. And I don't know, I kind of yelled yesterday. I'm not sorry. But whatever it takes, right? To start setting us up to believing that this world is possible and that we deserve it. Okay? Yesterday I wrote on my LinkedIn, which you can find me, Hannah Nuss, just search it. I wrote, what keeps you from thinking big and what pushes you to think big. And one of the comments that I got was, being safe keeps me from thinking big. I developed a box/container around safety that prevents me from thinking big or taking a risk, sometimes at the expense of selling out my true self. I mean, is that a quote somewhere? Right? These are the conversations, but this is this idea of safety and security that's so inexistent. And if safe and secure comes at the sacrifice of your true self, do you even want that? Right? And I know that that's a bigger, scarier thought. But here's the thing. If you have to sit in rooms and sacrifice who you know to be true, what you know to be true to yourself and to your space, do you want that? Right? Do you? And wouldn't it be worth finding out what it looked like for you to tap into your truth? Right? Because this comment says it all right here. This idea of security and safety prevents me from thinking big. Yeah. Right? It puts you in this box. And so many times when we're talking about creative spaces, the two things go hand in hand. You have to create an environment where you feel safe to share. Because authentic thoughts come from people being themselves. And new and bold ideas come from individuality, right? But safe and secure leads to duplication, right? Safety and security comes from this place where we don't know, and we don't want to take new risks, and we don't want to post that thing, and we don't want to say the thing that's individual, but that is the only way to create something new, beautiful, and authentic. Because if you're out here copy and pasting everything because it feels safe, oh, well, someone already said it, you're going to look like the same exact thing. You realize that, right? You can't build something new and different if you don't give yourself enough room to create something new and different. Right? And that comes with abandoning this idea. And I think, this comment, they put it so well. Jeff. Being safe keeps me from thinking big. That's it. Safety and security are not real unless we create a container around that, right? I had this idea that if I left my job, I'd be moving into this insecure place where I don't know what's going to happen. It's not untrue. But then I started to flip that script, and every single person that would comment or have something to say about what I was going to do generally came back to this idea of being safe, of being secure. And then I really started to examine that. And this world changing as much as it has in the past couple of months gave me an even clearer insight to this idea of security, and honestly was one of the reasons that I didn't question this move at all. I had been obsessed with this idea of safety and security before I made this jump, before I made this leap to go all in on my dream. And as soon as COVID hit, I start to really question it, right? Because within, all of about 2 weeks, everyone, not just my position, but everyone has to start questioning their worth to an organization. Has to start questioning if they have enough value to be of value, right? And all of a sudden, jobs that felt super secure, all of a sudden stopped being secure. Right? And so when people would say to me, I couldn't. This is just, it's secure. It's safe. I can't imagine. I couldn't imagine leaving this. Literally looking me in the face and saying these things. All the while, their jobs are literally being cut every day. Their hours, their PTO banks, all being sliced. CEOs and CFOs are sitting up in rooms and they're saying, that department probably needs to have some things cut. We don't really need them. We don't really need this person. We don't really need this. And you're sitting here and you're telling me that you're so secure. When within a second, someone could come down and cut off all ties to any security that you used to have, and you would have no idea. And that's what we're all clinging to. This false sense of security, which holds us in boxes to not be our true selves. You want to know what I think the answer to thinking bigger, to dreaming bigger is? Eliminating the word secure and safe. Take it off the table. It's not a real thing. It really isn't. In fact, when I thought about this idea of entrepreneurship and this idea to finally give myself this gift of exploration and freedom, when I thought about that, I was really challenged by this idea of security and is it even safe enough? And then I started to think, at least in this instance, I'll see it coming, right? And it may not work. It may not work at all. I may be the craziest person on this planet. And it may not work. And people may not like it. And it may not share. And people may not sign up for the things. And they may not like what I have to say. But at least I'll see it coming. And so I just had to flip the script on how I thought of security, what I thought of it, right? Because in this instance, yes, I've had to figure other things out. Yes, I have to keep striving and fighting and figuring things out. And so in that sense, it's not secure, but in that sense, it's the funnest thing I've ever done. But I've had to flip the script on some things. And the first thing I had to flip was this idea of security. And I think with entrepreneurship, or this idea that you might just bank on yourself, I think with that, it's the first time you ever are secure. You realize that you have no idea. And I follow and listen to, because I'm trying to validate this new belief that I want to have, that entrepreneurship is possible. I follow and listen to a lot of people who speak to this very idea. This idea of security being eliminated and them finally being able to level up. Them finally being able to explore and think and imagine new possibilities that they never would have had their security not been cut. Right? So I went ahead and just cut mine off early because I wanted that too. I wanted to see. And so much of this entire journey has been this idea that, could it be possible? Can you just have dreams and go after them and make it happen? And just live and breathe and eat it and do it, right? In the early mornings and late at night and all day long. Could you just do that? And how do you do that? And here's what it looks like. Well, in the beginning stages of, you can. Okay? And as the ultimate underdog of all these things, and I had to just avoid people who were telling me, no, it's not possible. No, it's not possible. And I shared on my TikTok yesterday, if you want to follow me, the Death of a Dream podcast over on TikTok. I shared on TikTok one of my big wins, which I talked about yesterday, which was ranking in the top 100 of a podcast category. And that idea, this idea of starting a podcast, I had listened to so many webinars that were just like, no, don't do this unless this. Don't start a podcast unless you have 5,000 people on your email list. It'll fail if you don't have those things. Don't start a podcast if you don't have this beautiful big Instagram following. Don't start a podcast if you don't first have money to market it. And I did it anyways. Because I couldn't. I couldn't sit and wait for those things. I just couldn't. I just knew that this is what I wanted to do, and that honestly, if I could do it in real time, if this could be a part of the journey, if people could follow along, maybe that portion would be even more inspirational than sharing the story afterwards. This whole last year has been me recovering from the death of my own dream in real time. Figuring out, and I explored, like, no, maybe I just want to recommit to this desk job. Maybe I just want to figure out how to do both things. Maybe that's where I go, and I explore that, and you hear that. Maybe I want to create this bigger vision of what this is going to be. Maybe I just want to sink back and do nothing at all, and all of those things have been a part of this journey. And the greatest thing that I ever did was just start recording. And you won't know, right? You won't know if you'll ever be successful when you start. But if you just keep following that energy source, right? Truly trusting that it's possible. Truly believing that anything that you want to do, that you feel passionate about, you can do if you're willing to put in the time. Right? And truly removing this idea, and Jeff said it best yesterday. I don't think big because I am safe. And I want to challenge that today. I want to challenge security. Because within an instant, we all figured out that these jobs that we worship for their security, for their safety, all of a sudden aren't. Right? And if that happened, what is the message here? Right? And maybe it isn't entrepreneurship. Maybe it isn't starting your own thing, but what is it for you? What is going to be that thing that sets your heart on fire? Or maybe entrepreneurship is exactly what it is, and you've been disregarding your own big thoughts and passing up on them because you feel safe and secure here. Right? In order for you to change, you are going to have to get uncomfortable. That's how I started this podcast this morning. It is uncomfortable to move into a new thing. That doesn't mean it isn't going to be worth it. Right? That doesn't mean that it isn't going to be work that sets your heart on fire. But if you can just trust yourself to start, I promise you, things start to unfold, but you can't hold back. Based on a false sense of security that really doesn't exist when you challenge it. And that's what I started to do. Just start to challenge that idea. Is this really all that safe and secure? And am I really staying here because of this belief? So I started to validate a new belief. This new belief that I want to hold is that jobs aren't really that secure. Making money one way really isn't that sane. Right? Keep mixing it up, keep challenging security and safety, because that's where big ideas come from. If you've always done it this one way, it's worth examining a new one. That's all we have today on The Death of a Dream. Thank you so much for being here. As always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful. What are you going to do? Change the world. Hey, welcome to the Death of a Dream podcast this morning. I think I said that in my intro portion. Nice. So you're going to hear that twice, right after the music intro plays for this, and then again. But either way, welcome to the Death of a Dream podcast. So happy that you're here. Today we're diving all in on this idea of safety and security and challenging that, right? The number one thing that was said to me when I left my job was, oh, yeah, it's just not a lot of security in that, is there? Yeah, I wish that I could live my own dream. I wish that I could do my own thing, but I just need the safety and the security. And so we're discussing that today. We're discussing what it looks like and how to start challenging that, because my belief is safety and security. And someone commented on my LinkedIn yesterday, my belief is that actually holds us back from being who we're truly meant to be. And I had that validated yesterday in this comment. So we're diving all the way in on safety and security today. And I'm so glad that you're here. A lot less yelling today. Okay? I'm sorry. Yesterday I was just like, come on, people, let's go. Let's do this. Let's be higher vibes. Let's go. Today we're scaled back a little bit, but still a great conversation about challenging your mind. Thank you for being a part of this community. You can follow me on all things Hannah Nuss. Over on LinkedIn, you can find me on TikTok. If you want to be a part of the building of this, of the day-to-day of what this looks like, that can be followed at The Death of a Dream. That's where you'll find extra content. And you can find me there on TikTok at The Death of a Dream podcast, on Instagram at The Death of a Dream, and everywhere else you can find me at Hannah.Nuss. That's where you'll see some things that are personal and family oriented. But either way, you you can find me. Bonus. So thank you so much for being here and for being a part of this community. Let's dive in. Oh, shoot. I forgot to stop recording.